I don't think our microphones are on.
Heinrich. Here. Commissioner Reinert.
Here.
Commissioner Gamache. Here. Commissioner Schulte. Jepson.
Here, sorry, issues with my mic.
Commissioner Meisner.
Here.
Okay, and we'll move on to the first item. Consider accepting the regular claims paid over $500 and the purchase card claims paid for the period ending February 7th, 2025. It's been moved by Commissioner Schulte. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Meisner. Any discussion, questions? Hearing and seeing none, this is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Heinrich.
Aye. Passes unanimously. Item number 5 is to approve the minutes from the February 11th, 2025 County Board meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
It's been moved by Commissioner Jepson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Schulte. Is there any changes anyone has? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, it passes unanimously. We moved on to Chair's remarks. We have nothing officially for Chair's remarks this morning, so we'll go ahead and get started on the Committee of the Whole recommendations. The first one we're going to go to is Government Operations, and we'll start with Commissioner Jepson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So there are 2 items on the consent agenda, one regarding finance, one regarding facilities and maintenance, and, facilities management. So for the first one, for finance, the committee recommends for board approval to increase the imprest or change fund with Anoka County Library from $50 to $200, allowing the library some flexibility in having more cash on hand to provide change for those who pay fees with cash. The second is for the facilities management to enter into contract C00-11376 with Wolt Architects and Engineers to design through construction to relocate human resources and veteran services per the master space plan in the amount not to exceed $118,700, including reimbursable expenses.
And then we'll go to Commissioner Schulte for property records and taxation under the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There are 2 items here under property records and taxation. First is a resolution 2025 GO3, grouping of tax forfeited parcels for sale purposes. Those are in Commissioner Brasted's district in the city of East Bethel. And then resolution 2025 GO4, grouping of tax forfeited parcels for the sale purposes in Commissioner Reinert's district in the city of Lino Lakes.
Thank you. Before I ask for a motion on the consent agenda, anyone wishing to move any of these off?
Yeah, I'd like to request number 5 be moved off.
It actually is.
Pardon me?
It's actually is an action item.
No, so,
Yep.
all right,
That'll be the next one. Yep.
perfect.
So for 1 through 4, 2 of facilities management, and 3 and 4 in property records and taxation, no one has any motions? Okay. Do I have a motion on the consent agenda?
So moved.
It's been moved by Commissioner Schulte. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Jepson. All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Heinrich.
Aye. Passes unanimously. And now move down to the action item on property records and taxation. Commissioner Schulte.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Action item is number 5, consider approving the purchase of iPad cellular pull pads in the amount of $271,437.50 and approving the extension amendment to Anoka County contract C0006472 with No Inc. LLC from February 25th, 2025 to February 24th, 2026 with automatic renewals each year.
Thank you, Commissioner. Do I have a motion on this to put it on the table?
So moved.
It's been moved by Commissioner Jepson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Meiser. Questions, comments? Commissioner Heinrich.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to vote no on this today. Nothing is 100% secure, but I do feel that paper poll pads are more secure than electronic poll pads. If there was a nefarious actor trying to gain voter information through the poll pad system, that is certainly more scalable, and that's my concern, is the scalability of possible fraud. There's less chance of fraud taking place, I feel, with paper poll pads versus the electronics. Paper's not without some cost, and less efficiency maybe than the electronic pads. But I feel like for me, that's a concern of mine is the scalability because of the use of electronics, where if fraud were to happen on paper, it would just be less scalable. And so for that reason, I'm voting no today, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Meisner.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, first of all, I do want to acknowledge the group here out in the crowd. Election security, as we all know, has been something that some of the community has spoken openly about for the last at least 2 years. I will be supporting this for a variety of reasons. Again, the state of Minnesota has some of the most rigid laws around security, number one. Number two, we have checks and balances, and I assure you, if there was any actual evidence or data that indicated that these were not secure, I too would also be in agreement to maybe take a look at that. Anoka County has done some steps to increase this on good faith measures, and then also we do have to comply to state statute. So I do want to express that again. We follow the laws of the state, and so this is one of them. In terms of why I will be supporting this, again, it is efficient. It is actually secure. You cannot prove a negative, and I think that's probably the hardest thing around this issue, in my opinion. You can't prove not fraud is happening, and I kind of think that's mostly been your position, because whether it's a post-election review or other checks and balances that all counties do, we show time and time again that there is no fraud happening. So that is why I will be supporting this. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Reinert and then Commissioner Schulte.
Yeah, so, yeah, I'm not going to be supporting this as well. But, you know, for a lot of different reasons, really. So we started using these pull pads in 2018. Up until 2018, we used the paper rosters. They worked fine, obviously. I think that there wouldn't be anybody that says they didn't. Otherwise, you'd be saying every election prior to 2018 had a problem. So they work. They're probably a little more cumbersome. I've been trying to, I guess, you know, have discussions at the county here for about a year and a half, probably closer to a year and a half, about just giving cities autonomy, the autonomy to use the paper or use the pull pad. Because the more that I, you know, try to bring forward that conversation, the more that I'm told that the pull pads really aren't that big a deal, you know, and it's true. I mean, the poll pad doesn't actually carry any votes, hold any votes. It's basically a roster. You've got the paper roster, you've got an electronic roster that's on a poll pad. It's kind of a spreadsheet that's on a poll pad. Well, if it's that low bar, then what's the big deal? To me, I don't really care if a city uses a paper roster or an electronic roster. I just want to allow them the freedom, the autonomy to do what they want. And so, you know, I keep being told that we're going to have a vote on this board about it, about that topic, about that question. And, you know, whether or not, and it might fail and it might succeed, I don't know, but I've been trying to have it come before this board for a very long time. I'm told now that we are going to have it at an upcoming committee meeting and that it would come to the board. We'll see. But, you know, to me, it's all about procedure, too. We should probably have that vote first, identify the cities that, you know, want these poll pads and not want these poll pads, and then, you know, have some time pass for the cities to answer that question, yes or no, and then we would know which cities want them and which cities don't, and then you go buy a poll pad. So, yeah, for me, it's about procedure, it's about autonomy. And I don't really care if you use poll pads or not, but it should be left up to the cities, and the county shouldn't be lording over all the cities and say, you will be doing it this way. So, you know, for those reasons, I won't be supporting today.
Thank you. Commissioner Schulte.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The public has been deeply engaged in this process. I've received more calls in the last 2 weeks than probably in the last 10 years on any issue. So I applaud the public for that. being engaged in any process at the county is important, particularly when it comes to elections and tax dollars. That's all really important stuff. But this is an important issue from the respect that election integrity is vitally important. But there is no fraud, not in Anoka County elections. I've asked many times, many times over the last 4 to 5 years to present some fraudulent cases. Show me something. Show me something where there's been fraud in Anoka County, because I really want to address it if there has been. I want to figure out where it's been and how we can fix it. And there just hasn't been any. Poll pads are a very simple tool. Prior to this idea, we were using poll pads that worked through a hotspot, which was through the web, the internet, which arguably may be easier to hack than a cellular network. These iPads will go through a cellular network. Much tougher to hack. If you're on your cell phone playing around at the library or anywhere else and you're on the Wi-Fi network, you stand a pretty good chance of getting hacked. Wi-Fi networks can be hacked fairly easily. But if you're on your cell phone and you're not on the Wi-Fi network, you're not going to get hacked. It's really, really hard to hack a cellular network. These iPads will be on a cellular network. So the idea of them being hacked are slim to none. Hacking them really wouldn't do you much good. All they are names and addresses of people that are going to vote. And all the poll pad's going to tell you is whether or not they voted yet or not. And frankly, the apps on your cell phone track you nonstop all day, every day. So when you go to vote, anybody will know whether you have voted or not, because your apps are tracking you. They're telling you. Anybody can log into their cell phone and tell, well, not anybody, but most people will be able to tell whether you voted or not just by whether or not you've been to your polling place. As far as costs, going back to paper, people will tell you, some people will tell you that there's no cost to that or it's reasonable. That's misinformation or disinformation. I'm not sure which term is correct. It will be an expensive proposition to go back to paper. Not just the cost of paper, not just the cost of full-time employees, but temporary employees. Every city will have to do it. The county will have to do it. It will be an expense. So for those reasons, I am going to support this. And I do appreciate each and every one of you that contacted me and that I've had lengthy conversations with. I hope you understand my position, but this is an important topic. I listen to you. I understand your points of view, but I am going to support this. I think it's the right thing to do for the county. I think it's the right thing to do for our taxpayers. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Jepson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I don't want to duplicate everything that everyone has said, so I'll try and keep my comments a little bit different. But I do want to echo one thing that they said. I want to say thank you for your time. You guys have put an immense amount of time and energy into the paperwork you give us, the research you've done, being here almost every single meeting and providing public comment. And I want you to understand that even though I am going to support this, I have listened to you, I have done looking into, I've read every document and every email and listened to every voicemail that you have left me. So your efforts have not gone unnoticed at all. The hard part about what our job is understanding the much, much bigger picture and how your information and your efforts also then balance out with our staff's information and our staff's efforts, all the while making sure that we are good stewards of taxpayer dollars. That job at times, like these issues, as Commissioner Schulte said, is very hard because this is very important work. And so for me, voting to purchase these poll pads, one, I want to support staff in their efforts, but I also want to respect the decision from the board back in 2018 and the decision and the direction they chose for this county to go into. That was an intentional decision based on information they had at the time, and I do want to support that. I also want, based on the financial component to it, I think Anoka County has been extra financially responsible in their ways of handling these poll pads thus far. So we all have a device. We have a phone, we have a tablet, we have a laptop. All of us have some sort of a device, right? And we all know, I mean, cellular companies say every 2 years your contract is up because they know that those devices have a shelf life. Well, these poll pads have had a shelf life of 3 to 5 years. We are on year 7. And so extending that lifetime on devices, that is an ancient device now. And so being good stewards, we were able to buy time of 2 to 4 years additionally with what we're doing. And that is the hope. In addition to that, with the storage cases, we are retrofitting our current cases so that we don't have to buy new ones for the new poll pads, which it sounds like we're going to be purchasing now. So I also want to comment, because none of us have really commented on this in the past. And so I really want to hone in my final comment on, you know, the paper worked in the past, let's just go back to the past. Okay, if you want to use that argument, mailing letters has really worked in the past. But then you have the internet and email. Picking up a phone, and you know, we always use the phone. Well, now our phones are flat devices, right? And push buttons and dials. Well, that worked in the past too. But now we have texts, right? So progress comes, and we have to be part of that progress in order to make sure that we serve our residents and our constituents while also being fiscally responsible. So with that, I will leave my comments there, knowing that I will be supporting this purchase.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Reinert.
Yeah, just final comment, and I'm not gonna, jump on anybody up here. I mean, they all have their own opinions, and fine. But I think I do want to correct one thing, though. I don't believe the board in 2018 did vote. I think it was an administratively implemented change to have the cities use poll pads. And I believe only one city actually voted on the topic. And it's strangely enough, one of the cities that now don't want them. But anyway, yeah, I mean, if they're as secure as everyone says, if they're, as low bar as they are, that it's just a spreadsheet on an electronic device, I mean, why do we care what cities use? I mean, to me, it's about freedom and autonomy. I mean, drive a Chevy or a Ford truck. I mean, like you said, email, mail a letter. Some people still like to mail letters. It's more to me about just, let cities do what they want to do. If there's truly no difference, let cities do what they want to do.
You're good? Okay. Just to wrap up, we have 6 of us up here today. So it'll need 4 votes to pass. And this will be, I'm not going to add any more. Everything has probably been said by everybody here. I do appreciate the contacts from the public, both by phone calls and emails, read through them, listened to the messages, talked with a few people on the phone. That went a little longer than I anticipated, but it was fine. I wasn't in the middle of anything, so I could do that. Some of the phone calls came during meetings where I wasn't able to pick up, and I apologize for that. Well, we've had a lot of legislative meetings going on where we've been down in St. Paul on different issues facing the county, and couldn't really leave those meetings at the time. So I apologize, but I listened to the messages that were left. So with seeing no other questions, this is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Gamache,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte,
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson,
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Heinrich,
No.
Commissioner Reinert.
No.
That passes 4-2. We'll move down on to our Human Services Committee, and that's Commissioner Meisner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Human Services Committee met on Tuesday, February 18th at 9:30 in this building. I'll probably keep repeating this for the next couple of times. Again, we have gone to committees of the whole All 7 of us are at every single committee meeting. So this is where we do all of our work and our research and our questions, which is why everything appears to go very fast here, but we have had that opportunity to do that. There were no public comments in person. I also did not receive any via email either, but anyone is welcome to make their public comment via email. You can email me at mandy.meisner@anokacounty.mn.gov. So what I will do is what has been done previously. I'm going to go through the entire consent agenda at the very end. I will ask if there are any questions or comments, and then we will vote on that as a slate. First, for the consent agenda is contract C00106464. This is for Amendment 1 with RS Eden, RSI Laboratories. And this is for lab work that is being done in our corrections facility. This is a long-standing contract that we've had for many years, and actually the numbers came in even more favorably this time. Consent item number 2 is to support Resolution 2025-HS-4. This is to proclaim March 2025 as the Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month in Anoka County. So this one I do not believe has been highlighted for a couple of years. So it is good to recognize and acknowledge all of those that have disabilities in Anoka County. The last consent item is under economic assistance. This is for the approval of economic assistance client expenses. This is a very standard thing that we do for this month. The total amount is $282,578.72 as identified in the economic assistance for client payments. And with that slate, I will ask our board if there's any questions or comments. John, or I'm sorry, Commissioner Heinrich.
Thank you, Commissioner Meisner, Mr. Chair. And so I just wanted to point out, I mean, at first glance, in committee, this is my first glance here now, but very happy with the shifts to lower dollar amounts for what looks to be the same or better testing through RSI. So maybe if you could, Madam Chair, just, I think we had some discussion about that, but what's the overall reason for such dramatic 8 to 10 standard drugs from $22.72 was current pricing down to $7? You know, I could give multiple examples here, but $13 down to $6, 5 to 7 standard drugs. What was the reason for that, Madam Chair?
Yeah, no, thank you, Commissioner Heinrich, and I'm glad that you brought that up. There was discussion. I mentioned that this was looked upon favorably for today's vote. And essentially, we sent out an RFP. This has been a longstanding contractor that we've had, but obviously the best practice is to put it out there and see what comes back. The reason that the numbers came down even lower, because I did ask about this, is that RSI simply has the capacity. They're very large, and they really want to continue working with Anoka County. So that, in a nutshell, is why things came back favorably. I will note that this is very rare. Normally, it's always the other way around, where there's increases. But in a nutshell, that is the reason.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments about the consent agenda, items 1 through 3? I will go ahead and make a motion.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Meisner, second by Commissioner Schulte. Any other discussion? Seeing none, this is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Heinrich.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye. And that passes unanimously. Any informational items, Commissioner Meisner?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. There was one informational item, but I do always like to share with the public, and this was a informational presentation, basically to present the 2024 fiscal year fraud prevention investigation outcomes. So for this has been put in place since 1993, and this is a collaborative effort. And basically, this is very specific to look at fraud in initial applications for SNAP, cash, healthcare, and childcare assistance. The staffing that does this includes specialists and 2 investigators with the county sheriff's office, as well as our attorney's office. So this year's outcome, was a savings of over $2 million, 2.8 million, almost 3, which is about 7% of the statewide savings. I will say every year the outcomes for fraud prevention is very significant. So this has been an outstanding program with really good outcomes. So I am personally really glad to see it and very thankful for all involved that do this work. Again, that was informational, so there is no voting necessary, and that completes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner. We'll move down to the Public Safety Committee, and lead Commissioner Brasted is not here today, so I will handle the consent items. There are 5 of them. Resolution 2025 PS01, accepting a dedicated donation from the Anoka County, Minnesota Kennel Club and the Anoka County Crime Prevention Coalition. This was a total, let's see, we've got $1,250 from the Kennel Club and $4,829 from the Crime Prevention Coalition in Anoka County. Very appreciative of that, and that goes to the Sheriff's Office for their Sheriff's K-9 program. The next item is Resolution 2025 PS02, accepting dedicated donations from Edward B. Cutter's Post number 102. That is also going to the Sheriff's Office. It's in support of the Sheriff's Office Honor Guard. And it's coming from, again, as I indicated, Edward B. Cutter Post 102 received $100 from them. The next item on the agenda is a resolution, 2025 PS03, acknowledging the retirement and transfer of ownership of the County Sheriff's Office K-9 diesel to Deputy Jesse Coulter. And that's pretty self-explanatory. Diesel has been with us for a number of years, but it's time to retire. And Deputy Jesse Coulter has been his trainer for a number of years, so it works out very well for both. As it says here, whereas the Sheriff's Office has determined the K-9 diesel has no economic value to the county and wishes to retire diesel in a humane fashion. And as someone who's retired myself, I think General Mills wrote the same thing down. I had no longer had any economic value, but they wanted me to retire with in a humane fashion. But very much appreciative, and good luck to Jesse and to Diesel as well. The next item, item number 4, is a contract. Let's see, contract number C is 0010902A, the High Density Drug Trafficking Areas, called HIDTA Program Grant Agreement Amendment, increasing the grant award by $8,500 and authorizing Commander Brent Erickson to sign the grant on behalf of the Sheriff's Office. That's pretty self-explanatory. The last contract is C00111414, Law Enforcement Services Agreement between the Anoka County Sheriff's Office and SMG for a term of January 15th, 2025 through January 15th, 2027. Let's see, this contract is a general partnership organized. SMG is a general partnership organized under the laws of Pennsylvania and a subsidiary of ASM Global. The Sheriff's Office has been asked to provide law enforcement security services for SMG at U.S. Bank Stadium for each NFL football game during the 2025-2026 season. SMG agrees to reimburse the office for personnel providing the security. They have rates, showing the deputies' rates here, but this is a good contract, and as many of you can probably understand, this is sought out by, or the deputies like to volunteer for this job, obviously. But it's a good contract, and we are being paid all the money we need to be paid to cover the sheriff's duties that deputies have during those games.
Mr. Chair, I'll move the consent agenda.
Thank you, Commissioner Schulte. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Jepson. Any questions from anybody? Seeing none, this is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Heinrich.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
And that passes unanimously. The one other informational item that was on the agenda was a request of the donor from Resolution 2825 PS04, which we just voted for, I believe. No, we don't. Accepting dedicated donation from the Masonic Lodge will be considered at March 11th County Board meeting. So that one will be coming up. We just talked a little bit about what it was regarding, and we'll be voting on that one later on in March. But that ends the Public Safety Committee. We will now move down to the Transportation and Parks Committee as a whole, and we will start with the consent items with the first 4 from Commissioner Jepson for Highway.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the Transportation Committee, as a whole, recommends that the county board approve under the consent agenda 4 different items. The first one is to consider approving Resolution 2025 TR09, authorizing the acquisition of additional right-of-way for the reconstruction of Bow Street from 181st Avenue Northwest to 201st Avenue Northwest in the city of Now Then. The second item is to enter into contract C00-11411, which is a professional services contract with SRF Consulting in the amount of $495,782 for environmental documentation and final design for corridor improvements on Old Central Avenue between Mississippi Street and 69th Street, Avenue, and the replacement of Bridge 331, oh, sorry, I moved too forward. Let me start over. So, yes, contract C00-11411 in the amount of $495,782 for environmental documentation, final design for corridor improvements on Old Central between Mississippi Street and 69th Avenue for the replacement of Bridge 3310 in the city of Fridley. I want to make one clarifying comment in that on the agenda, the bridge number is not this one. It needs to be edited and updated to be the Bridge 3310. So just want to make that clarification with the consent agenda item. The third item is to enter into contract C00-11215, which is a joint powers agreement with the city of Ham Lake for their local participation for intersection improvements at the intersection of Trunk Highway 65 on Bunker Lake Boulevard. The city of Ham Lake has agreed and is willing to contribute $25,000 to that very necessary project. And the fourth item for transportation is entering into contract C00-11381 in the amount of $1,263,830.75 to New Look Contracting for intersection improvements at Mississippi Street and Central Avenue in the city of Fridley.
I didn't ask before, does anyone wish to move any of the 4 consent items from transportation off for a vote separately? Seeing none, do I have a motion on the consent items?
So moved.
Been moved by Commissioner Jepson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Heinrich. Any other discussion? Seeing none, this is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Heinrich,
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert,
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte,
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
And that passes unanimously. We'll move down to the parks with Commissioner Reinert for items number 5 and 6.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Parks Committee met on February 18th. Absent from that meeting was Schulte and Brosted, and there was no public comment. I have 2 items for your consideration today. The first one is to consider recommending approval of contract number C000986A. This is an amendment in the amount of $160,782 with TKDA and Associates for the design, engineering, and construction management for the bridge replacement, trail construction, and trail reconstruction at the Coon Rapids Dam Regional Park. This is going to be, the completion of this project is going to make a lot of people happy. It's been out for a couple of years, that bridge, and it just really disrupted all of the trail connections over there. Let's see, anything else to say about that? I think that completes that. Next item is consideration of recommending approval of contract number C00103994B. An amendment to in the not to exceed $463,324.92 with Meyer Group Architecture for the Bunker Pavilion design build services. So there's 2 pavilions that are being reconstructed in the Bunker Hills Regional Park. One of them is just a massive one that holds hundreds of people. This has been going on for a couple of years. The total amount of these reconstructions are $1.9 million, but that comes under budget, which was originally contracted at 2.1, so we're happy about that. The prior pavilions that we had were, had wood beam construction and, you know, lasted, I think like maybe 30-plus years. These are going to be steel construction, and we've anticipating 50-plus years out of these. So that sounds like a lot of money. It is a lot of money. But at the same point, you know, I think we are made the right decision to go with the steel construction for, you know, getting more bang for the buck here. And, Mr. Chair, I'll move both of these items.
It's been moved by Commissioner Reinert. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jepson. Any discussion, questions? Looking forward to finishing the pavilions, the bridge too, pavilions out there at Bunker for, and hopefully have them ready by Memorial Day, where we can once again have our Memorial Day celebration there at Bunker, not just below where the hill is there that has the other statues and flags hanging there. So looking forward to that. Commissioner Reinert.
Yeah, I should comment too, you know, these are large numbers that we're talking about, but, you know, it's not all county dollars. You know, we are using Parks and Trail Legacy Grant funds, Met Council bonding funds, modernization funds, Legacy Parks Trail funds. So we go out for grants for a lot of different places to help pay for these projects. It's not just all county direct tax dollars.
Thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none, this is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Heinrich.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
And then I wanted to ask Commissioner Jepson again if she had any information items that she wished to touch base on.
Yes, I do, and thank you, Mr. Chair. We at the Transportation Committee had a very robust conversation about a number of very large topics happening within the county. So I just wanted to briefly touch on those, but first want to comment that there are a few contracts that we gave County Engineer Joe McPherson the authority to negotiate these contracts for joint powers agreements with a number of cities. The first contract is with the City of Columbus for reconstruction of Potomac Street from Lake Drive to Broadway Avenue. The second contract is with the City of Lino Lakes for construction of a roundabout at the intersection of Centerville Road and Ash Street. The next two contracts are with both the cities of Blaine and Lino Lakes for the reconstruction of Sunset Avenue from 109th to 125th Avenue, because they have to be with both cities because that stretch of road overlaps with both the City of Blaine and Lino Lakes. We had an incredibly informative presentation from Metro Transit and MnDOT for Trunk Highway 65 and Trunk Highway 47 improvements, considering the expansion of Met Council's BRT F-line, which will impact the cities of Columbia Heights, Hilltop, Fridley, Spring Lake Park, and Blaine. The second presentation was from the City of Fridley and the work they're doing for future bridge construction, continuing 57th Avenue or over the BNSF Railway for grade separation. And finally, we discussed some amendment changes to the original contract with Stonebrook Engineering for the construction at the intersection at Lexington Avenue and 122nd Avenue in the City of Blaine, due to the need for further traffic analysis and changes during the final design phase to enhance safety, ADA compliance, and mobility in the intersection. And with that, Mr. Chair, that completes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Jepson. Moving down to, let's see, we're on item 8A, I believe it is. And let me just get back up here. Okay. We have a public hearing to obtain comments on proposed updated Anoka County right-of-way ordinance. And Jerry Auger is with us, I believe, but we'll turn it over to the county attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the county board. I will now open the public hearing portion of this meeting. The time is now 10:09 a.m. I ask that the minutes reflect that the notice of public hearing on this matter was published on February 7, 2025 in the Anoka County Union to inform the public that a hearing would occur during the regular meeting of the Anoka County Board of Commissioners on today's date, February 25, 2025, to allow public comment on the proposed updated Anoka County right-of-way ordinance. That's right-of-way ordinance 2025-2 as set forth in the published notice of public hearing. Before we actually receive any public comments that may come on this proposed updated ordinance, Assistant County Engineer Jerry Auger will give the board an overview of the proposed ordinance. Jerry?
Can you hear me?
No.
No?
Is there a button there to press? I had trouble with mine.
Try it again.
Talk louder.
Check, 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 check.
Yep, there you go.
Don, just talk louder.
Yep.
Get down a little lower. Chair, members of the county board, really appreciate the opportunity to be here today. Jerry Ogier, Assistant County Engineer for the Transportation Department. The last time the county has reviewed and updated the right-of-way ordinance was in 2000. So this ordinance is actually 25 years old. There's been some changes that have occurred over the years, and this was a great opportunity to update some of the requirements that are part of the ordinance. As part of the ordinance, this is where we as the county ensure the safety in our corridors. We look at the well-being of the citizens that use our corridors, and just to make sure that the utilities that are being relocated within our corridors are complying with our ordinance. As part of this, we, as the county, we have the permitting authority for utilities to work within our right-of-way. We do issue those permits to utility companies, and as part of the permit issuance, as part of our process, we do work individually with a lot of these utility companies to make sure that the work that they do is safe within our county right-of-way. The ordinance holds users accountable for excavations, obstructions within the right-of-way, and other activities to make sure, again, the safety is for not only the workers, but also the motorists that are using the right-of-way. Areas of the ordinance that we have updated are definitions and a table of contents. There's permit and restoration standards that were updated. There are penalties, violations, and enforcement that we have modernized, and we've aligned with other counties within the metro. There's new and updated construction and liability provisions, contractor registration requirements, and county project coordination. So these are, project coordination are public improvement projects where we require as a county to have utilities relocated. That's a partnership that we've had in the past, and those are partnerships that we need in the future for utilities to relocate so we can put in public infrastructure. And lastly, we look at the public safety for the motorists and utility crews that are working within our right-of-way. Staff back last week, we held a utility meeting with all of the utility contractors that work within our right-of-way. It is also, it would be traffic control companies that work for some of these utility companies. And it was also subcontractors that do work for utility companies. We invited over 120 to 130 participants to a meeting. We actually had a good attendance. We actually had 60 members attend a utility meeting last week. And I would say that that's an annual meeting that we're gonna have from here on out. It's really starting to gain relationships with the utility companies. But I would say having 60 utility companies and partners there was really important because we talked about this ordinance to those participants. And we also provided this ordinance out on our website, and we directed the utilities to view the ordinance on our website. As part of the ordinance, we went through some of the high levels, but we did not receive any questions in regards to the ordinance at that meeting. That was an opportunity for the utility companies to really voice their concerns at that meeting. So in conclusion, that's what I have in regards to the utility ordinance that's before you. And I'm going to turn it back over to County Attorney Johnson.
Thank you, Jerry. We'll now begin the live public comment portion of the hearing. The purpose of this part of the hearing is to solicit any public comments and to gather any public opinions regarding the proposed updated Anoka County right-of-way ordinance, which is attached to today's agenda. First, I want to ask a question of Mr. Ogier. Did Transportation or you receive any written comments or messages submitted prior to the meeting that you want to make part of the public record today?
No, we have not.
Okay. Normally, I would go into some ground rules. I want to just see if the clerk or if there's anybody in the public here that would like to address the county board just by raising your hand. Okay, so may not be, if anybody does, you're welcome to do so. I can cover the ground rules at that point in time. But why don't I call out a few times just to make sure that any members of the public who have come here today have had an opportunity to address the county board. Are there any members of the public who wish to provide comments on this topic? Okay, I'll call 2 more times. Are there any members of the public who wish to provide comments to the Anoka County Board of Commissioners on the proposed updated right-of-way ordinance? And a last call, are there any members of the public who have come here today that would like to address the Anoka County Board of Commissioners on the proposed updated right-of-way ordinance? Having called 3 times and hearing none, I will close the public hearing portion of the meeting and turn the meeting back to you, Mr. Board Chair, to consider the adoption of the proposed updated county right-of-way ordinance.
Thank you, County Attorney Johnson. Commissioner Schulte, do you have a question?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, this is a lot of work that the Highway Department went through. It's well done. I just, one quick correction on what appears to be the 11th page of the document in section 1.07, subdivision 1, under operations on the 7th line, there appears to be a bracket that's supposed to be a parentheses around the word county's plan. Just a quick typo thing, not a big deal. With that, I'd move approval.
Amendment?
With that,
All right.
Full second.
We got a motion by Commissioner Schulte, seconded by Commissioner Reinert, and question.
So as Commissioner Schulte went the granular route, I just have an overall question. You had 60 utility companies there and not a question, and there was no changes in what was presented, correct?
Commissioner, that is correct.
And then so I guess summarize, what the document does, it's basically, to me, it looks like it streamlines process and procedure,
That is correct, Commissioner.
which is why they were all for it, right?
Correct.
All right, thank you.
And we are on 8A, which is to consider ordinance 2025-2, Anoka County right-of-way ordinance. It has been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, it passes unanimously. I do have to go back to one other committee. We have an additional item here before us from our management committee, which was held this morning, and I will turn that over to Commissioner Meisner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Management Committee of the Whole met this morning at 8:15 in the Government Center. I have one consent item before us. This is for Resolution 2025-M3. This is a resolution approving the tentative agreement between the County of Anoka and the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 49, representing the Highway Parks Maintenance Unit for the calendar years 2025 through 2027. So this is another 3-year contract, which, again, I personally think is a good thing for stability. We had a very good, lengthy, and robust discussion around this particular contract and then just in general for wages for all of our employees. But with that, I will move this.
This is Resolution 2025-M3. It has been moved by Commissioner Meisner. Do I have a second?
Second?
Second by Commissioner Schulte. Discussion? Yes.
I'm sorry, I just have one other comment just in regards to union contracts. I believe we're about halfway through right now, and so as these continue to get approved, they will be coming before the board in the next several months.
Thank you. So, seeing no discussion, this is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Reinert,
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte,
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson,
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Heinrich.
Aye.
And that passes unanimously. And is there anything else to come before the county board this morning? Seeing nothing, the board is adjourned. We'll have public comment